Good morning. This morning we're going to be talking about how to prepare a batch of kombucha. This is the jar that you will have sitting on your counter for the week while it does its thing and creates this wonderfully flavored fermented tea. This is one jar. Now I'm going to show you my setup. Please do not have any panic attacks here. This is not what you are required to do. I have a family who drinks quite a bit of kombucha, and I enjoy giving some away. So I have one for each day of the weekdays. And we're going to go ahead and get started now. And I'm going to explain to you how to prepare your first batch. Okay? Hold on. Okay, now I'm going to start with the basics. This is a half-gallon mason jar or ball. And this is what I like to use because it holds more. So we're going to open this up. We're going to begin to prep this jar. We're going to put in half a cup, in this case, of evaporated cane juice, the kind with honey. And then we're going to put in 4 tea bags of organic green tea. This is a box I got at Sam's. Has 76 bags. Definitely lasts me a little while at 4 per jar. But it is 100% organic and it is Bigelow. So you can see that. I'm going to open these up here. Do this so you can see it. Not a challenge. Take the 4 bags, put them all together here. Now, I want them to stay connected so they're easier to get out. So what I'm going to do is take this, tie a knot, so get all 4 of these to come through there. Tuck my knot fairly close. And then I'm going to trim those labels off. And then I have a setup with 4 bags. Alright, this will then go into here. Now, at this point I want to put in water. What I like to do is on the side of the jar you will see the markings. I have the sugar and the tea in there. I like to go up to about, this is cups, so 1, 2, 3.5. So I like to go somewhere in here. It's not rocket science. If you put 4, you put 4. If you prefer 3, use 3. My point is that I get enough water in there that the sugar dissolves easily and the tea gets to steep. And I've just found that for me, 3.5 works. So here we go. Put these in my jar. Now I'm going to, because my counter is wood, I like to set mine on a trivet, and I'm going to set it here and off onto the side for about 3.5 hours. For me, in just my general timing, that is what works. I want this to be cool, totally cool to the touch. No heat in it. The heat will affect the SCOBY, which is the symbiotic culture of bacteria and yeast. It is the part of where it does the growing. But I need this tea to be done, so I'm not ready to go. This is stage 1. Alright, so I will be back at that point to go over the next part. Okay, 3.5 hours have gone by. We are now ready to move to the next step. Now at this point we're going to first remove the tea bags. Wood spoon. Some of the writings that I've been reading on this have been saying don't use a metal spoon. So I prefer to just stick with the wood spoon until I prove yes or no that's actually true. So what we're going to do is pull this up, since we can get a hold of all of them. I'm going to squeeze them against the spoon, which you can't see how I'm doing this. There we go, that's better. And then we're going to take those out of there. and they will go in the trash can. The next step will be to get our kombucha jar that's going to be our new one. I mean our jar for the finished kombucha. That will be just basically a clean empty jar. I'm going to move this one over. And I'm pulling my jar for the day. Let's see, I don't need the trivet. That will help with the filming. Okay, so this one has the rubber band around the Moses hat. We're going to take it off. And we're going to remove this hat. This is a SCOBY. That is what a SCOBY looks like. So, I'm going to place the strainer into the jar for the finished kombucha, and I am going to remove these. There's actually more than one SCOBY in here. Now see, they have these little greenish brown yeasties on them. That's absolutely normal, absolutely fine. You really should be seeing those. Alright, and the second SCOBY, that gave me 2 of them. Alright, and I've placed those down on my saucer. Okay, now this jar I'm going to take, and that little yeasty part in there, I want to see if I can't get that into my new tea jar. Alright, that's where we're going to start. I'm going to take the new tea jar. Now, some of the water that I put in 3.5 cups, and some evaporated, so we're down to about 3. So I'm going to pour in, I like to put 1.5 cups. A cup is all that's required, but I really do like 1.5 cups. So I'm going to go up there to about the 4.5 to 5 cup line, somewhere in there. Okay, that jar is now done for the moment. Now I'm going to take my clean jar, because this is my finished kombucha, and I'm going to pour this into here, and I'm going to strain it. Just because when my family started, they wanted to have it strained. They didn't want to deal with any of those little floating things. I'm okay with that. Okay. The jar I just poured this out of, you will see, has some sediment stuff in the bottom. That's just a byproduct of the fermentation. It's not something I really want to drink or keep, so I didn't slosh it around. I didn't mix it up. I'm just going to take this jar and put it in the sink to rinse. Also, the strainer out of here, those will go into the sink to rinse. This jar has the finished kombucha. It gets a lid back on it, and this one goes in the refrigerator. That's ready to drink and ready to go. Now this one, however, is going to need water. I want to fill this one up. Now I'm going to pour some just fresh, clean water in, not straight out of the tap. Like I mentioned on the paper, I like the filtered, like reverse osmosis, alkaline. Head for the best water you can. And I'm going to put this, I've got this water kind of up to about here. There's the first ridge at the bottom of the neck. Here is where I'm going to run the water. Right in here, just enough that's pretty much the depth of one of the SCOBYs. I want it to be up into this neck, into there. But not a lot, just some. Alright. I have 2. One nice looking top SCOBY, one bottom SCOBY. And there, one peels apart. I'm going to take that part off. This feels almost like cartilage, but I'd love another word for it. There. I'm going to thin this down, but I want to put in 2. I don't usually do that. I'll usually stick 1 in, and given my choice, I'd take the one with all the yeasties on it. But at this point, I need an extra one for somebody else coming up. So I'm just going to just put this nicely, gently in there, and this one, and they will float. Not all float. There's the extra juice from the plate, from the saucer. But most of the time they do. If they don't be concerned about it. As long as it's in there, they will come up to the top again sometimes. Sometimes it will build a whole new one up on top of here. Let it do its thing. The Moses hat goes back on, and this helps keep things out of it. This gives it room to breathe, but it keeps bugs out, it keeps dirt out, it keeps all of that stuff. So pop the rubber band back on, and the rubber band is going on just under that edge, under that lip, so it stays on. Now this jar is now ready to go back on the counter and to sit for 7 days, which is why on these jars you will see that I made labels for each day of the week. That way I don't get them confused. Okay, that is how you do this. I do have a written paper that will do this. Oh, and I'll show you this one. This is a Moses hat. It's simply a piece of fabric, cotton preferably, that is cut in a circle, and a rubber band. I'm going to be including a Moses hat and the rubber band into the kits, as well as a jar, the half-gallon jar, and an 8-ounce jar, which I will put a SCOBY and the first cup that you will need to start your first batch of the kombucha. I'm also going to include a bottle of the Orange Vitality essential oil from Young Living, so that you will have the opportunity to make your kombucha have different flavors. One of the fun things to me is the different flavor part. I have a friend. She makes all her kombucha. She teaches classes and all too. She uses the Happy Bee honey because here in Oviedo, Florida, she is very local. So it's a local raw honey, which is good to build your immune system. It gives you probiotics to help it. So the probiotics work really well with the kombucha. So when she takes her finished jar and pours herself a glass, then she will put a little bit of honey in and 1 drop of the essential oil. Makes for great flavors. This one's a blueberry. Now my daughter, she absolutely loves the spiced apple, and she'll do it with a cinnamon essential oil, and it tastes like spiced apple cider. So there are choices depending on the flavor. I would recommend a local raw honey because it gives you the probiotics that are in the natural honey. They build the immune system. They also help cut down on allergies for the area. And that is what you will have in the kit. I look forward to our next class and showing you what else we've got going over here. If you have questions, feel free to email me. The email will be on there. This is going up on my page, web page, and I'm going to be doing a blog. We're going to cover many different things. Some about the Instant Pot, some about the kombucha, some about some different areas that will help build your system into a strong immune system, and will get you on the right track to being healthy all the time. I love the pattern on this one, but I'm going to offer a couple of them. So, have a wonderful day. Be very blessed in the Lord, and I look forward to seeing you again. Goodbye.